So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you severely stress your corn out, plant 20, 25, maybe 30 plants in one hole directly in your lawn and don't weed it and just see what happens like I did, you're going to get some really interesting stuff. The Three Sisters garden method is an intercropping garden of corn, beans, and squash developed 3,000 or 4,000 years ago right here on Turtle Island by some very smart people. Now, just 500 years ago, Europeans arrived on Turtle Island, and about 250 years ago, we started calling Turtle Island the United States of America. I've been growing Hopi Blue flower corn for 4 years now, and I have always reaped what I've sown. I've always gotten Hopi Blue flower corn back out of the ground when I had put Hopi Blue flower corn into the ground, except for this year. So I planted 1,200 Hopi Blue flower corn directly into an established lawn. It's my first time doing it this way. I've always planted it in nice, neat mounds before. But what came out of the ground so far, I've only harvested 3 ears, 3 that had fallen over, and I didn't want to let them start to mold. So I opened them up to see what was inside. And it's really interesting. So the first one, this little guy, was a couple of weeks ago, and it looks like Hopi Blue flower corn. I wasn't surprised to see how small it is and how unfull the ear is, because I planted it directly in a lawn with the grass. I planted them very densely together, so they would compete against each other. It's almost like I'm trying to create a land race. So when you do that, you can expect your corn is going to be less than beautiful. I still think it's beautiful. But this is Hopi Blue corn. That's what it looks like. That's what I was expecting. A couple of days ago, I find this bad boy. Now, keep in mind, all I put in the ground were blue kernels that I had grown myself. So I peeled this one back, I looked at it, I was shocked by what I'd found, and then even more shocked when this was the next one that I opened up. It's the only 3 I've opened up so far. It looks like Bloody Butcher. And I guarantee you this came from a Hopi Blue corn seed, because I grew them myself, I saved them myself, and I put them in the ground myself. So, I did a little bit of reading, and it sounds like there had been some cross-pollination at some point in the history of the genetics of this plant. So those genetics resided in my corn as a recessive trait all this time. Why this year? Why did it choose to start showing its recessive traits this year? And I can tell you, after doing some reading, it's because I stressed my corn plants out so much that it actually made it possible for these recessive genes, I'm probably saying that wrong, to be on display and to show up. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you severely stress your corn out, plant 20, 25, maybe 30 plants in one hole directly in your lawn and don't weed it and just see what happens like I did, you're going to get some really interesting stuff. I think it's awesome. Subscribe.